Well, welcome back to the shed, and only me tinkering with old junk again. This time it's an Amerex 8-track player with the usual slider controls for bass, treble, balance, and volume. But it didn't sound very good, it was sounding a bit fuzzy. And the other thing was that when you pressed the channel change button, the motor went really, really slow and it sped up again as soon as you let it go to normal speed. In addition, I think 3 out of the 4 little pilot lights that show you what track you're playing had blown. Now, these can be an absolute pig to get at, these little dial lights and indicator lamps. So I've come to the conclusion that whenever possible, I'm going to try and replace them with white LEDs or warm white LEDs so that it doesn't spoil the vintage appearance of it, but is much more effective, and with a bit of luck I shan't have to go delving about again. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about. Tiny little lamps are quite difficult to get hold of nowadays, actually. So, and a pig to get at. Usually you end up dismantling the whole thing. This one is easy because they're actually all mounted at the top. Now, you need to know a few bits before you can go and do anything like this. Now, this mechanism here is a car 8-track mechanism to all intents and purposes. It runs at about 13 volts and it's negative earth. The chassis is the negative, if you like, and to that end you can see that the wires go back from the lamps to a point here, and that is then screwed onto the chassis itself. Now what I've done is to superimpose a resistance there, and you have to know how many milliamps your LEDs are going to pull, and you have to know the voltage that is coming out of this naturally in its native state, what the voltage the LED runs on, and then you can decide which value resistance to use, because it's connected in series. If you put them straight across the original supply, they'd light up for a few seconds and then rapidly burn out. So there has to be a resistance there just to stop it cooking itself. Now, what about them when you press the channel change? Well, these are the original capacitors for this side of it, as it's split into 2 effectively. There's one side powers the driving mechanism and the preamp, and the other side powers the power amp, which is here. And as you can see, this has been recapped as well because it was starting to sound a bit peculiar, a bit fuzzy here and there. What I've done is to obviously get rid of these. They're only fit for the Vilnius can, they're nowhere near within limits. And I've put in a capacitor here. The beauty of this machine is there's quite a lot of room inside, so it was easy enough to simply get a bigger one and put it there. Don't go too mad though, because you may well cook the transformer or the rectifier, so don't go too mad, and always use the same voltage as marked on the thing, which is 25 working volts here or higher. Don't go to less, because you might find it'll go pop. Now, the belt too had gone into a sort of teardrop shape from being at rest for many years, so that's been changed. And all this shrink sleeving here is designed simply and purely to stop anything touching the negative earth chassis plate and causing Poppenkorken and Spitzensparken, as I'm quite confident they never said in Germany. And the motor takes off with much more pull as well now. Amazing what a few new caps and a bunch of LEDs can do. As you can see, the appearance at the front is completely unchanged, and that's what you really like to see. Nobody knows what you've been up to inside, and as long as it's an improvement and it makes it go better, then why not? There are some things that I do leave strictly alone, but this seemed like a good idea to have a little play around, see if I can modify it, soup it up a bit, because it's not in the best of condition. It's been in someone's attic for years, I should think this has. The speakers aren't very good that I'm using with it. It's just a pair of old PA speakers from one of the old Mark 1 electric trains I used to work on. I believe they actually came out of a side corridor trailer car and a four-step, if anybody's interested, which I doubt. As you'd expect with something as old as this, not a microchip in sight, just a couple of little transistors down there on each channel to act as the first half of the power amp, and then these here as a push-pull output, and that's it really. There's a little preamp board hidden away underneath here which raises the signal from the head to an acceptable level for this little lot here. And with that rather triumphant ending of the tape, perhaps time to end the video. There's your automatic changeover, and as you can see, the LEDs are doing a good job. They're running on about 2.87 volts, so they're perfectly happy. They're white LEDs. Got a few of them in this tin. Did consider using blue, but thought better of it. So there we are, one repaired Amerex. See you soon.